Hi, welcome back to another video. My name is Tasha, aka Miss Kiff, and in today's video I'm going to give you all tips on my trip to Venice. When I was looking for flights, the best was to fly into Venice Marco Polo. I paid about £60, which is about 70 euros, from Bristol airport into Venice Marco Polo. And I would say out of all the airports, Venice is the most cost effective to fly into. How do we get from Venice Marco Polo into Venice Mestra? So if you didn't know already, there's Venice Mestra, which is the main land, and Venice Lucia, which is the Venice on the water, as we all know. Now, to get from the airport into your hostel, which is located in Venice Mestra, all you have to do is take a bus, which is about 10 euros. You don't have to pre-book this. You can get this straight off when you leave the airport. You'll find a ticket office right there. It's super easy, and you have to validate it right at the bus stop. So just as you come out of the airport terminals, you turn right and you'll see loads of bus stops there. If you don't manage to buy your ticket just before you exit, it's fine. You can get it actually at the bus stops. Just remember to stamp your ticket, because you won't be able to get onto the bus unless it's validated. Then it's about 45 minutes, half an hour into Venice Mestra. And what I like about Venice Mestra is that this Venice Mestra is like the central hub that connects you to many places in terms of trains and getting out for the day. Let's just talk about the train transport system for a hot second. It's super cost effective to travel around Italy, and you don't need to plan in advance. So the ticket is the same price as it is in advance, what it is on the day. So Venice Mestra, you can get a single into Verona. You can go to Milan from Venice Mestra. So many different places. Now, Venice Mestra is where all the accommodation is, and you also can get the bus. I also took a bus from Venice Mestra to Milan as well, which is super easy. Most of the trains that I've ever booked, I've always passed through Venice Mestra. So it just seems to be the central hub of where to connect the trains into different areas, which is awesome. And your train tickets are from 5 euros all the way through. I think the most I've ever spent for a journey was 11 euros, which is so affordable. So that's a big plus. I would say the best time to visit Venice is not the time that I went, which is June. It's so hot. You want to go spring or autumn. Avoid Italy in the summer. It's just unbearably hot. Venice Mestra station, all you have to do is walk about 5 minutes into loads of hostel areas. So you've got so many different hostels in that area, but the one that I recommend is A&O Hostel. I stayed here. I'll link all of this in the description below, so you can just click on all the links. A&O Hostel, you can get, in June, I paid 19 euros for a hostel room. Now, if you look at the overall price for Italy, it's about 40 to 50 euros a night in accommodation, which is for hostel as well, which is so expensive. But you can also get a private room at A&O Hostel for about 40, 50 euros, which is awesome. So definitely consider booking A&O Hostels. It's really, really good. I really enjoyed myself. If you stay in the hostel, you have to make your own bed, but they provide sheets for you, which is fine. Regarding co-working spaces, so most of the hostels, they do have a space to work. So there's loads of people working all the time, which is great. I spent a week as a digital nomad in Venice working, and explored Venice Lucia for 1 day only. So that was fantastic. And to be able to work downstairs, it was great. I worked on the sofa, I worked on the desk, and it's great because people working around you. It's a bit noisy, but if you wanted a bit of your private space, they do have co-working spaces nearby, which is about 20 euros. I'll link the names over here, the ones that I found. 20 to 25 euros for the day to work there, and to book a meeting room is about 25 euros an hour, which is a little bit pricey. So what I did is that I booked a private room at A&O Hostel for the days that I had a meeting, which is way better than going to a co-working space, and then you can upgrade your accommodation at the same time. Whilst you're at A&O hostel where you're gonna eat. So you have quite a few pizza restaurants, but I would say coffee is the most cheapest everywhere. It's about €1, €2. It's super cheap for coffee everywhere. But food, you should go to the supermarket right next door. So if you turn left by A&O hostel, you'll get this great big supermarket. You can get loads of food there, especially on a budget, and A&O hostel has a kitchen. So I would just maybe buy some cutlery and keep it with you. That's the only downfall with that hostel, is that I think all the guests have taken the cutlery for some reason. So get yourself some cutlery. What I like as well is there's a little desk in your hostel room, and each hostel room has its own bathroom. So even though you're sharing with 6 people, you also have your own bathroom and a space to sit. So you can always sit and work from your hostel room if you find it too overcrowded downstairs, which I found quite useful. To eat out, it's a little bit pricier. Every time you eat out, you pay a cover charge, about €2.50 service charge on top of the bill. But I spent about €20 for pizza and a glass of wine, which was a little bit pricey, I would say. But then I walked down just opposite the station, down a random road. I got sushi and apple spritz for €5. So if you look, you can eat out cheaply. Look around and see what your budget can handle. But I would recommend going to the supermarket and then maybe doing like a nice aperitif, like a sundowners. It's a tradition where you have a little drink, a little snack, and that's something nice to do in Italy. I really like that. Going to Venice Lucia. Well, so you will be staying in Venice Mestra. There's not much to do in Venice Mestra, I'm not gonna lie. But if you're solely going as a digital nomad, this would be ideal for what it is, right? But then you have your exploration days. So you use Venice Mestra as a base, and then you explore everywhere else, which I did, which I found quite useful. Going into Venice Lucia, you can get a return train for €2.90. It's ridiculous, from Venice Mestra into Venice Lucia, and all you have to do is get lost in Venice. It's so good, and you actually don't need a lot of money to spend in Venice Lucia. I did it super cheap. I got pasta in a box for €6. I got a beer. The beers were quite expensive, but at the time it was so hot. But you can get a glass of wine for €3. You know, you just have to look around, to just window shop, enjoy the city for what it is. And I even got to taste limoncello for free. So you can do Venice Lucia on a budget, just get lost. I would say you only need a day or two to explore it. Venice is good to go to every now and again. I think one day was for me enough. But something that I wish I did, but my hostel mate did it, is you can get a gondola on Get Your Guide. So the link will be down in the description, for about under €30. Because if you want to book the gondola yourself, it's about €90 to go, which is crazy. So the best is, especially if you're solo traveling, you want to go and get your guide. I also found another chick that did excursion from Venice, which I would love to do, to an island nearby, and she also spent about €30. So you can explore different, go for a day trip for like €30. So I will link all the Get Your Guides down below. I want to go back to Venice to do this again, because at the time I was mostly going for work. Then going into Venice, you want to avoid the weekends. The weekends has tax. So you have to pay your city tax for Venice. You got your hotel, your hostel city tax, but you also got to go into the town city tax. So go in the week. I went on Friday. It was so good. I only needed about 6 hours in Venice because it was so hot, and there's no place to really sit. You have to really find alleyways to go and sit down and have some food, which is okay. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please do watch my Italian series to get a little bit more insight as to what the location looks like and things like that. But I hope you've thoroughly enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Please do subscribe and comment down below what other videos you'd like to see or any other information you'd like to know when traveling to Venice. I will try to answer it as best as I can. Okay, ciao ciao.